Nice. What's up, Yuri? What's up, Raven? Brevichu. I hope y'all know this is a pro wrestling podcast. I'm going to be talking about some wrestling for the next hour. But I greatly appreciate y'all dropping in. If y'all want to hang out for that, you're definitely more than welcome to. Hello. Good afternoon. How do things sound? How do things look? OBS had an update today. OBS had an update today. Apparently it's their 10th anniversary. Apparently it's the 10-year anniversary of OBS being a thing. And there was an update for OBS today. And it changed a bunch of shit. So I would have been live at 3, like I had planned on being live, but had to update OBS. And then had to move a bunch of my scenes around and stuff, because, man, it definitely changed the way things look a little bit. So that took a little getting used to. Like, I'm still, like, literally looking at things and tinkering with things and moving things around a little bit. It's... I was not ready for that today. But it is what it is. It is what it is. That's the world we live in. Updates happen. Happy that OBS has been around for 10 years, so that's awesome for them. Hopefully we'll be around for 10 years, you know? That'd be kind of cool. Somebody pops a follow age and it's freaking 10 years. Can you imagine that? Be pretty freaking dope. Whew. But yeah. It's a pro wrestling day. Where am I at here? Here we go. See that over there? This is a mic'd up pro wrestling podcast day. So I hope everybody's doing well today. Got a big weekend coming up for wrestling. Ugh. Yuri, Raven. I'm almost plat in Apex, but man, it's tough playing that damn game. I played 2 matches today just to get my 2 matches done. Man, that was shit show. Shit show. Yeah, I think music might be a little. Turning the music down a little bit. If it's too low, let me know. But for podcast, I kind of just want it to be background noise. It's not predominant thing. Let's see here. I fixed Nightbot. I resubbed Nightbot, so yay. Those emotes should work now. If y'all weren't here yesterday, I got some, yeah, the timer's always off. The timer's always off as soon as I go live, and then it kind of resets itself. I do have a new emote now. So yeah, I made a pog face emote. And nobody caught it. Yeah, that Pokemon's gone. Ugh. Yeah, we're dragging through this one. I haven't even like officially started the talking about wrestling stuff yet, but We're gonna get to it. I'm just kind of getting situated here. Wrestling today, yes, that's right, Ravenous. On Thursdays in the afternoon, I like to do a little wrestling podcast where I talk about wrestling for an hour, and I kind of post that. Yeah, and we post the VODs for this show. We're gonna post that on that YouTube channel right there. It's a passion project. It's like a separate endeavor that we work on, but it's something I used to do years ago. Like I'm talking like 5-6 years ago. And then I stopped doing it, do other endeavors. But recently I've thought about doing it again. So we've been kind of poking at it here. You know, I'm enjoying the live. I enjoy doing the live format. I know a lot of podcasts are audio only and all that fun stuff, and that's great. That's phenomenal. I did that. But I want to do a more live podcast experience. I had a really good time hosting panels at wrestling conventions, wrestling panels at conventions. And that was really fun to me. So I like the live format. It's probably my favorite form of content creation is the live format. It's tough to do pre-scripted stuff and pre-recorded video. It's hard. But alas, here we are. Live format, live podcast, mic'd up. Well, let's get this shit. Let's do this. Mic'd up special episode during panels. Yeah, pretty much. That might be a thing in the future. We'll see. So, let's get into this. The title of this week's episode for Mic'd Up Podcast is called Loaded. Because this weekend, it's loaded. You know, starting on Friday, going all the way till freaking Monday, it's jam-packed. On Friday, you've got Rampage, you've got Smackdown. On Saturday, you have WWE's Clash of the Castle. Sunday, you have NXT's Worlds Collide and AEW's All Out pay-per-view. And then Monday, obviously, right back into Raw, and the train keeps moving. The wrestling world doesn't stop. It's 365 days. There's no off season in wrestling. It's not like football and basketball and baseball. Like there's no off season. The wheels keep turning, and we are heading into a really, really big weekend. We're gonna start off talking with AEW like we normally do, and we'll wrap up talking about WWE as well. And I'm actually I wasn't sure if I wanted to do predictions for the different shows, but considering this is my first one I've done in a while, and we're starting to get this podcast going again, I thought it would be fun for me to do some official predictions from me for these shows this weekend. I'm not doing NXT Worlds Collide. I'm not doing any predictions for that because I haven't honestly been keeping up with it, so it wouldn't be very well informed predictions. I'll just be picking two people in a match. So, but NXT's doing a lot of good things. They're unifying a lot of their titles, and definitely a show worth checking out if you're into that stuff. But we're gonna focus on AEW, WWE. We're gonna start talking about Dynamite. I'm gonna dabble a little bit with Raw. I didn't watch a lot of SmackDown, so I don't have many SmackDown notes for this week. But yeah, let's get into it. Dynamite is the last show before the pay-per-view on Sunday. They're in Chicago currently, and it's kind of like their homecoming, I guess, because the first AEW show was in Chicago, and they themselves call Chicago their home, which, okay. I mean, Chicago is historically a really big wrestling town. It's definitely one of those bucket list things for me. I would love to experience a wrestling event in Chicago at some point. I think that'd be pretty fun. But Dynamite was in Chicago. They kicked off the show with Jon Moxley, which I thought was a good move, because he did beat Punk last week to become the undisputed AEW World Heavyweight Champion. But he cut a really good promo. I enjoy the hell out of Jon Moxley and everything that he does. I like his work a lot, and I enjoyed his promo. But unfortunately, it wasn't. It led to what I was afraid it was going to lead to. Yeah, the heat from that crowd was crazy. It was weird. Like, he came out, he cut a great promo, and then he pulls out the contract where he's like, hey, I have a contract for the pay-per-view. Whoever wants it, step up. You know what I mean? He puts it in the ring, and then he kind of leaves. And I was like, okay, this could be interesting. This opens the door. Anybody could come out and grab this contract. And I was like, okay, this could be interesting. We could have a debut here. We could have, you know, somebody maybe who wants a championship match. I was like, this could be good. And then some guy comes out. I admit I didn't know who the hell he was. Ace Steel. I didn't know who he was. I'm sorry for all the Ace Steel fans out there. I didn't know who he was. He picked up the contract, put it in his pocket, and went to the back locker room. And I was like, well, that's anticlimactic. Anticlimactic. But then I saw on Twitter that people were saying, you know, that's Ace Steel, that's CM Punk's trainer. I was like, no, I knew we were going this way. But so yeah, and then later in the night, we got the CM Punk promo. He got his Chicago pop. He came out talking like a sad puppy dog. Boo hoo, I'm not as good. Blah 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 blah. Then this freaking doofus comes out, hands him his freaking contract, and says, here, you need to fight this guy. And I'm just like, and yeah, I knew it was gonna happen. I'm happy Jon Moxley got the win and won the AEW Undisputed Championship, but just for him to just drop it right back to Punk at the pay-per-view, I'm just like, man, come on. This is WWE levels of painfully obvious booking. And it's like, come on. I love AEW, but come on. I gotta call shit when I see it. And I'm not completely sold on it. But we'll see what happens. I mean, hell, they had a match last week. CM Punk twists his foot and the match is over in 5 seconds. And you mean to tell me that in about a week's time, his foot's magically going to be completely better? Not going to be any issues with the foot, and he's going to beat a very healthy game Jon Moxley? There's got to be something. There's got to be something going on there. There's got to be something more to that match, to that story, because as it is right now, it looks very, very flat, and it's probably the least excited I've been for an AEW title match in a while. But we'll see what happens. I don't want to talk too negatively about it. And what else did we have? We had y'all might remember him as Big Cass from WWE, but he's been going by W. Morrissey lately. He had a run in Impact. It's been really good. He did do that match on AEW once before, but now he is officially debuted. I guess he's an AEW superstar now. I didn't see like a Morrissey is All Elite package like they normally do. He came out, beat up a couple of dudes, and then it led into the storyline of Stokely Hathaway, who's handing out these cards to all these different people, and he's building a stable. I'm guessing he's building a stable, or maybe he's doing something for Ring of Honor. I'm not sure, but we'll see how this goes. I'm interested to see where it goes. I mean, Morrissey's a big dude, and a lot of the people that Stokely has been getting are, they're okay guys. Don't get me wrong, they're okay guys. You got Ethan Page, you got Lee Moriarty. He handed it to the Billy Gunn, the Gun Club, whatever, the Billy Gunn's kids. He's building a faction here. He's building something. And I think Morrissey will add a little bit of legitimacy, a little bit of a big guy, a big dude, into that lineup. And I saw a lot of people talking about online how Morrissey looks huge. And honestly, the average height for the AEW superstars is kind of average. They're not. AEW doesn't have a lot of giants, a lot of big tall guys. So when a big legitimate 7-footer comes out there in Morrissey, yeah, he's gonna look big. He's gonna look huge because AEW doesn't have a lot of super tall people on the roster. So he looked big, and he tore up that entire group. The Wingmen, whatever they're called. That was interesting. I enjoyed that. So I'm happy to see where that storyline goes. I'm happy to see what they're creating with that. I'm very looking forward to seeing what this Stokely's group is gonna be called. I'm interested to see where they go with it. I just hope they don't take too long getting it together. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And then what else? We had the women's match. It was a tag team match with the 4 women who are gonna be in the match for the titles pay-per-view. It was interesting. It was a decent match. I didn't see any glaring holes in it that I didn't like. I liked Hikaru Shida getting the win. I definitely like that. I like that they're trying to keep her strong and keep her good. I love Shida. I think Shida's awesome. It did make me feel like she's probably not going to win at the pay-per-view. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Then we had the Fatal 4-Way. There was a Fatal 4-Way match on Dynamite with 4 of the people who are going to be in the casino ladder match at the pay-per-view, which that's going to be nuts. And this Fatal 4-Way was absolutely nuts. I really enjoyed the Fatal 4-Way. Very high, fast-paced action. Good technical wrestling mixed in there as well. Yuta getting the win in that Fatal 4-Way was interesting. I like that they're keeping that young guy strong, keeping him forward. I don't see him winning the ladder match, but I wouldn't be surprised. But I definitely think that was a good match. Like, if you have to go and watch like any matches from Dynamite, if trying to watch highlights or something, I definitely think that's a match that's worth checking out. Honestly, curious to see what they do with that match, but we'll talk about that in the predictions a little bit later. We had the trios. I hated the way they framed the match when they called it the trios tournament Dynamite Finals. The Dynamite Finals. And then they have on Rampage on Friday, they have the Trios Tournament Rampage Finals. I don't like that. I don't like that framing. It's the semifinals. It's the semifinals for the Trios Tag Title Tournament. Calling it the Dynamite Finals and the Rampage Finals, in my opinion, it makes the Rampage one look weaker. Just in my opinion. Rampage is obviously the second show on AEW television. Not a lot of their bigger stars are on Rampage. So to call the Dynamite Finals and the Rampage Finals, I was like, that kind of diminishes the Rampage Trios team, in my opinion. I think if they just would have said, hey, this is the semifinals, the finals, the finals, the championship match will be at All Out, perfect. But I don't know. I guess they want that buzzword in there, but I just that's a little nitpick for me. But the match was good. Obviously, you had the Elite, you had Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks up against Will Ospreay in the Aussie Open. I thought it was a good match as expected. All 6 guys are really good. I didn't expect anything less. Anyone who says that the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are bad at storytelling, just don't pay attention, because I think the storytelling that they're doing with Kenny Omega's return is doing really well. I think it's great. I absolutely love what they're doing with it. Just how he came back, he was all taped up and had the shoulder brace on, shirt, and then this week he came out with just the shirt on, no shoulder brace. And then when Ospreay ripped the shirt off, they showed that his shoulder was still heavily taped. Like, hey, maybe he's not 100%. I like this. They're building this up, and I think it's going to be great. Curious to see how the finals play out, because as it happened later in the night, Andrade tased Evil Uno. That was incredibly random, but I thought it was hilarious, and that made me laugh. And I'm like, okay. All right, so we're just tasing people in wrestling now. Like, all right, all right, okay, cool. So obviously, Dark Order is now going to team with Hangman Adam Page. So we're going to get, the original 3 Elite guys versus their old buddy Adam Page and his new friends, and that's going to be an interesting match. So Dynamite was okay. I think they hyped it up a little too much. And this is going to be the biggest go-home show ever and all this. I just think they should really take those expectations a little bit. Obviously, you want to be excited and you want people to watch your show, watch your brand. You need those ratings, but it's like, overall, it was just an okay show. Like, it was just an okay show. Good matches, some decent matches, some good stories being progressed. They progressed the Daniel Garcia storyline a little bit more, which I thought was nice. I mean, him apologizing to Jericho was like, oh, come on. And then he came out and prevented Jericho from using the chair. You don't need that. Interesting. I'm still invested in that story. The sit-down interview with Jungle Boy and Christian Cage, it existed. Care for it, didn't hate it. Everything else was just okay. It was just an alright show. We're moving forward to a pay-per-view, and yeah, and here we go. Let's just get into the predictions. Let's get into my official predictions for AEW All Out 2022. Appreciate the alert, Yuri. We got a couple of matches. There's a couple. There's 14 matches on the card. 14 matches. I don't know how they do this. I don't know how they cram all these matches into these cards. They've done it before, but it's like, man, 14 matches for All Out. Wow. Three matches on the pre-show, and then 11 matches on the actual show, but still 14 total matches. Wow. But yeah, let's get into that. 14 matches. The 3 matches on the pre-show. We've got Eddie Kingston versus New Japan's Ishii. I think that'll be a really interesting. I think that'll be a really interesting match on the pre-show. Obviously, everything going on with Eddie Kingston and the Sammy Guevara stuff, that was what it was. It's ridiculous. I don't really care to comment on it because it's not my business. I'm not there. But I love Eddie Kingston, so I'm happy that Eddie Kingston's on the card at all. I'm happy he's getting another match with Ishii because I think those two can do some really good stuff together. He's been kind of feuding with Ishii over in New Japan currently because Eddie Kingston does appear on a lot of New Japan programming as well. So I think that match being on the pre-show is fine, great. People love Eddie Kingston. I think it'll get a good pop from the crowd, and I'm picking Eddie Kingston to win this one because that's what should happen. I wouldn't be surprised if Ishii, but I just don't really see it happening here. He might win if they do another match on for this particular show. Ishii. Let's see. Then we have Hook versus Angelo Parker for the FTW title. Hook's gonna win that in like 10 seconds. Not gonna spend more time on that. Then we have Pac versus Kip Sabian for the All Atlantic Championship. And I've enjoyed the quick feud they've built here. The quick match they're throwing together here. I'm glad this card it's actually making it on the pay-per-view. Sucks it's on the pre-show, which is like, okay, here's your brand new title, the All Atlantic Championship, the title they just debuted at Forbidden Door, and its first AEW title defense on the pre-show. So it's like, okay, is this title important? I don't know, but it's a title. It exists. So we've got it, and we've got Kip Sabian versus Pac, and I'm picking Kip Sabian to win this one because he's just returning from injury. He's been away from a while, doing sitting in the crowd gimmick, and I think they could pull the trigger on him, put the belt on him, build that belt up a little more. And Pac's not losing anything by not having that title. He's still doing great things with Death Triangle. He has other storylines that he can do, but I just see them slapping the title on Kip and Kip being able to defend that title for them. But you know, I wouldn't be surprised either way. Like, obviously, it's Pac's first title defense on AEW television. They could have him win it, keep that belt going. But I'm just gonna, for the sake of making a prediction, I'm going with Sabian. I think that'd be an interesting surprise early in the show. Then we have the main card. A lot of matches, 11 matches. Oof. We have Daniel Bryan. Wow, this is such a WWE match. I was going with his names, but we have Bryan Danielson. Sorry, he's facing Chris Jericho, and I'm so used to those names in WWE that it's like, yeah, Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson, whatever. Names are confusing. I'm picking Bryan to win this. I don't see any reason for Jericho to win this match. It does nothing for Jericho to win this match. I think Bryan Danielson needs to win this match and fire under him, or else what are they doing? Kind of there. I'm just gonna pick Bryan to win that one, and hopefully it further alongs the Daniel Garcia story. I hope it's not some bullshit where Daniel Garcia comes out and costs Bryan the match, and Jericho wins, and everybody's heels, and la la la. I think that would be very boring, in my opinion. Go ahead, let Bryan get the win. Let Daniel Garcia become a face. Let's further that storyline. I think that'd be great. And everybody else can ride off into the sunset with it. Fine. Let's see. We've got the women's fatal 4-way for the interim. Everyone's favorite word. Interim. Women's World Championship. We've got Britt Baker. We got Toni Storm. We got Hikaru Shida and Jamie Hayter. I think it'll be a good match. Be a bit of a clusterfuck, but I think it'll be fine. I really want Shida to win here. I really want her to win here. So it's really, really hard for me to predict this one because I really want Shida to win. But for the sake of predictions, moist. For the sake of predictions, I'm gonna pick Toni Storm. I think Toni Storm winning here, it makes sense. I don't think putting the interim title on Britt Baker is going to do anything great. Jamie Hayter could be the dark horse here. They could put the title on her, but I think they're not ready to split Jamie Hayter from Britt Baker yet. So I think she's kind of just there to maybe take the pin for whoever wins. But I'm going to pick Toni Storm to win this one. I think that's the safe bet, honestly. Moist. But yeah, let's see. Then we have another match that they threw together. We got Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro. What a crazy team there. Going up against the House of Black. Another trios match on this. There's three trios matches on the main card. I guess really highlighting the fact that we are crowning the first ever trios champions. But this match is kind of just thrown together. I'm sure we're gonna get some really good Sting moments here, because I mean, hell, it could be Sting's last match in Chicago. I mean, who knows how much longer he's gonna be around. Miro and Darby, I'm sure they'll get some good spots here. They'll probably win. But my prediction and what I hope happens here is that the House of Black wins. I really want Malachi Black to get a win here. I really want Brody King to get a win here. I really want Buddy Matthews to get a win here. Like, I love the House of Black. I love everything they're doing. I like their presentation. I like their in-ring work. But their win-loss record has not been great. Like, I get that y'all have a lot of action figures to play with on this roster. A lot of moving parts. But when you have a guy like Malachi Black, Tommy End, Aleister Black on your roster, the man should not be catching this many L's. Shouldn't be happening. This dude is a main event caliber person. He's a world champion caliber performer. And just a really good dude. Really good dude. If you're not familiar with Malachi Black or Tommy End, he's just a good dude. And I definitely want to see them get some wins here if they're keeping this together. Because if not, man, just let them go back to WWE, and I'm sure Triple H will take care of them. I'm sure Triple H will make Malachi champion. But do something with him, please. Because it's been kind of lackluster. Let's see here. Then we have the TBS title. Jade Cargill versus Athena. Another big title match here. I think it's been an interesting story. It's been okay. But I'm still not ready for Jade Cargill to lose. So I'm still going to predict Jade Cargill to win. Because I'm just not ready for her to lose. Really not. Could Athena win this match? Could she be the one to dethrone Jade Cargill and stop her streak? Probably, maybe. But I don't want it to happen. So we're going with Jade on this one. We're going with Jade. Jungle Boy, Christian Cage. Okay story. I get they're trying to really light a fire under Jungle Boy, and working with Christian is probably going to help Jungle Boy in the long run. Jungle Boy's probably going to win this, because why not? Unless Christian cheats to win or some BS like that. But we're just going to go with Jungle Boy on this one. Maybe Luchasaurus comes back because he's kind of away. I know they suspended him or whatever for attacking the officials. I haven't been very invested in that storyline. I'll be completely honest with you guys, but I'm picking Jungle Boy to win that one. Then we have another trios match. We have FTR and Wardlow, former Pinnacle members, up against Jay Lethal and Impact Wrestling's Motor City Machine Guns. So on this card for All Out, I mean, you're having New Japan represented, you're having Impact represented. You have a lot of, obviously you have Ring of Honor represented, and hell, there's some AAA guys mixed in here as well. Hell, with FTR being the AAA tag team champion. So yeah, even though the Forbidden Door pay-per-view is over, I mean, that door isn't closed. I mean, that's what I want to see. I like seeing that. I like seeing these different guys from different promotions coming in, and it just makes everybody look good, makes everybody look better. So we have the Motor City Machine Guns teaming with Jay Lethal here. Obviously, Jay Lethal known for doing a lot of things in Ring of Honor, but also known for doing a lot of things in Impact Wrestling. So I think that's a good team up for them. But I don't see Wardlow losing here. I really don't. I don't see FTR losing here. I mean, they're tag team champions for 3 different promotions. Don't see any 3 of these guys taking the pin. You got Wardlow, who's your TNT champion. So unfortunately for the Motor City Machine Guns, because I love them. I love the Machine Guns. I think they're great. They're phenomenal talents. But they're losing here. I'm sorry, they're losing here. Wardlow's probably going to get the pin with his Powerbomb Symphony, and they're just going to collect the paycheck and go home. Then we have an interesting match. Interesting match, in my opinion. Because, again, it was one of those last-minute matches they kind of threw together. But it got my attention because it is a casino ladder match, which they've done these before, so I shouldn't have been shocked. But casino ladder match for a future AEW World Championship match. So there's like it's basically Money in the Bank. Basically Money in the Bank, except they can't like cash it in so freely. They have to like announce, hey, I want the championship match now. It's not like you cash it in at the end of somebody else's match type deal. So, casino ladder match, we've got Claudio, Wheeler Yuta, Penta, Phoenix, Rush, Andrade, and a Joker. So that's 7 people, 7 moving parts in this match. And I literally think this is the most time I spent thinking about a winner for this whole card, because I was like, okay, Claudio could win it, but he's already the Ring of Honor World Champion. And if Mox somehow wins, are they going to have Claudio go after Mox? Or would Claudio go after CM Punk? If CM Punk obviously wins, they could continue that story of CM Punk going through the Blackpool Combat Club, which could eventually lead to another CM Punk Bryan Danielson match. I think that would be really interesting. So I thought about that dynamic. Then that also got me thinking Wheeler Yuta. Because also, he could go through Wheeler Yuta to the Blackpool Combat Club, working his way up to Bryan Danielson. But I was like, well, Yuta's the pure champion. I don't see either of the guys that have belts already winning this match. But stranger things could happen. You have Penta and Phoenix in this match. I was like, well, Lucha Brothers have been predominantly featured as a tag team. I don't think Penta's going to break off from Phoenix or vice versa, although I'd love to see Rey Fenix. And I'll say that every freaking week if I have to. I want to see Rey Fenix have a singles run. I think the man is freaking phenomenal. But it'll be a good match. Wait, no, there's 8 people. Dante Martin in that match too? Yeah, hold on. I think Dante Martin is in this match as well. So that could be 8 people. Sorry, forgive me. I might have forgot that one. But then you have Andrade and Rush and the Joker. Could Andrade win this? I could see that. I could see Andrade realistically winning. But for my official prediction, unless this is my official prediction. Unless it's the Joker. Because I could easily see whoever the Joker is coming in and winning this match. Because they've done that before. Hell, Morrissey could be the Joker. That'd be interesting. But I think unless it's the Joker who wins the match, I think it'll be Rush. Or some people call him Rush, but I think he likes to go by Rush. I could see him winning this. That's my official pick because I think that guy is phenomenal. Former Ring of Honor World Champion. Got all the tools to be a big star. I think him winning that would put a nice fire under him, a little bit of legitimacy, and that would lead into a title match with Mox or Punk that could go either way. So, fine. So that's my pick to win that one. We've got the tag team titles on the line with Swerve in Our Glory with Shane Strickland. Or I guess he doesn't go by Shane, and just Swerve Strickland. And Keith Lee, the mighty Keith Lee. Who doesn't love Keith Lee? If you don't, something's wrong with you. Then we had them going against the acclaimed, the Scissor Boys. This was an easy one for me because I want to see Swerve win. I want to see Swerve and Keith Lee win this one because I don't feel like their tag team title run has had a credible feud yet. The underlining storyline here is that they want to face a ranked team to defend the titles against. They want to face somebody who's on the rankings. And every title defense they have is usually against either somebody that's not on the rankings or it's like they did with Private Party, who they were 5th. So I'm wanting this to lead to something where, they go up to FTR. They're like, okay, guys, y'all are the number one. FTR has been the number one contenders to the AEW tag team titles for like 20 weeks. So I want to see this lead to that in FTR. Maybe we have this big match where it's FTR versus Swerve in Our Glory. All the belts are on the line. Winner take all. I think that would be really, really interesting. I think that'd be really good. And then obviously, probably have FTR win that. Then they have all the belts, and I think that'd be great. But that's what I want to happen here. Could I see them putting the titles on the Acclaimed? Sure. I know their Acclaimed is really popular and they're really shooting up the ladder right now, but I just don't think it's their time yet. I think they still need a little bit more time. Plus, I still feel like there might be some storyline lingering with Billy Gunn's kids, the Ass Boys or whatever, the Gun Club. I don't know if Danhausen's going to curse them again, but I could see them maybe interfering in this match, costing the Acclaim the match, but we'll see. But my pick is still Swerve. I think Swerve and Keith Lee are going to win that. Then we got a couple more. We have 3 more matches. 3 more matches for All Out. We've got Ricky Starks, Absolute, versus Powerhouse Will Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs. Storyline-wise, I want to see Ricky Starks win this one. Because obviously that's the way the story is built. He got betrayed by Will Hobbs. He's got to get his revenge. Bing bong, how you doing? He gets his revenge. That's my pick. My pick is Ricky Starks to win this match. And I'm assuming whoever wins this match is going to get a big push afterwards. Because they're both going to be stars. I could see them dragging this out into multiple matches. Dragging out the storyline a little longer. You have Will Hobbs win here some dirty way. And then Ricky Starks gets his payback eventually. But for this particular match, I'm going with Starks. Then the last 2 matches here, I've got the Trios titles, the crowning of the inaugural AEW Trios champions, which you have the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Bucks versus Hangman Adam Page and the Dark Order. As much as I love Adam Page and I love the Dark Order, it's been painfully obvious since the introduction of these titles that the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega were going to win them. So that's my pick, even though I wouldn't be mad if they went the other way. I think that'd be interesting for the sake of surprise. Adam Page wins, but I just don't see it happening here. I'm sorry. I think Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, they're going to win that titles and move on. And then we have the main event, the AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley, CM Punk. Yeah, surprise. It's Chicago for world title against a guy named John. CM Punk is probably going to win this. I hate this prediction because I don't want CM Punk to win this. I really don't. I feel like Jon Moxley has a fire under him right now, and I think he's doing really freaking well. I would love to see him have a dominant title run here. Jon Moxley has that final boss aura. He has that final boss aura, which we'll talk about that later as well in the WWE segment, but Jon Moxley feels like a badass. Feels like a final boss. He feels like a champion. The CM Punk stuff, I don't hate CM Punk. I really don't, but it just doesn't feel like he's got that aura anymore. You know, he had a great match against MJF when he did the Ring of Honor theme and he had the pants, and that was great. But I just don't know. It just seems too obvious that Punk's gonna win Chicago. I hope I'm wrong. Like, this is one prediction. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Jon Moxley wins. But for the sake of an official prediction, it's got to be CM Punk. Got to be Punk here. So, I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. Well, let me know what y'all predictions are whenever you happen to watch this video, or if you're watching this live, that's awesome. But I'm curious to see what people think about this match, and I'm curious to come back to these predictions next week. And we'll recap. I'll recap my predictions next week for both of these shows. Excited to see what that is. So, kudos on AEW. Get a drink of water. That's a lot of talking. We'll talk about WWE for a little bit. Okay. Alright, so WWE is building towards Clash at the Castle. This is their first UK soil European pay-per-view they've done in a while. They've done them before. I mean, obviously they had SummerSlam way back in the 90s. They've had a few Insurrection pay-per-views and stuff like that. But this is the first one that they've done in a while, so it's exciting to see WWE, the main roster, come back to UK. And they're building up a really solid card. And this show here, this is the first pay-per-view, the first full pay-per-view that we've had since Triple H has taken over. Obviously, yes, he was in charge for SummerSlam, but that was kind of just when things were starting to change over. Like, he hadn't done a lot of things yet. Like, he's still bringing in some of his people that were let go before, and I'm excited to see how all that stuff plays out going forward. It's gonna take like a year. It's gonna take like a year for Triple H to fully get everything he wants in place and everything's in motion. But as we get there, it's gonna be fun to watch. So, I didn't really get a lot of SmackDown notes at all. I don't think I have any here, honestly, but it was a decent show. It just built towards the show. Clash of the Champions. Wow. Clash at the Castle. This week's SmackDown is pre-taped, so there are spoilers out there for it, and I've seen a few, but nothing major. It's just basically a show. We're going to Clash at the Castle. It's a show. But it's taped already, so I don't have any spoiler things for that, but I do know that it's already happened. Nothing really major. Hey, Jackie. Nothing really major happened on Raw that like OMG, you know? It was okay. Like, they're building towards Clash of the Castle, which is fine. But there wasn't anything major. It was great to see Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle looks like he's in phenomenal shape. I liked seeing that they threw him right into a package with Chad Gable and the Alpha Academy and all that stuff. And then they had the match, which was a good match. The Street Profits and the Alpha Academy. I thought that was a great match. But if the Profits lost, Kurt Angle had to join the Alpha Academy or whatever. That was weird. Honestly, I thought it would have been fine, and I would have been happy had Kurt Angle come out and taken Chad Gable under his wing, because Chad Gable, man, that dude's a star. He can get it done in the ring, and he can get it done on the microphone with the entertainment value. So I think it would have been really fun. It could have been a couple. They could have got a couple weeks out of this with Kurt Angle and Chad Gable. Maybe him trying to teach him some things, you know, and maybe Kurt Angle could have finally got that. He could have finally got that good last match. Because, yeah, he had his official last match against Baron Corbin, and he lost, and that sucked. Let's all be honest, that sucked. And I like Baron Corbin, but that wasn't the match. That wasn't the match he had as a final match. They could have built something for that, and who knows, maybe they still will. But for right now, yeah, I would like to see Kurt be paired with Chad Gable. It was cool to see him backstage doing the skit with Edge. They were basically redoing the old skit from the '90s or early 2000s, where Kurt Angle was holding up the signs and Edge had wrote silly stuff on the back of it, like you suck and all that stuff. It was nice to see them recreate that. That was a good chuckle. Always good when WWE can scratch that nostalgia itch, but not just the cheap ones. Like that was a good one. There were some bad nostalgia itches. That was a good one. I enjoyed the Matt Riddle, Seth Rollins stuff. I thought that was great. Them faking the parking lot brawl between the two of them before the show, I thought was really clever. That was a pretty fresh take. That legitimately had people online thinking that was a real fight because they couldn't see any WWE cameras. You just saw these two people fighting in the parking lot, like, yo, what's going on here? But that was all part of the storyline, and then Seth getting personal, calling Riddle a bitch repeatedly, but it felt organic. It didn't feel like a forced. Because we've seen WWE. When WWE likes to slip the B word in the promos, it feels very forced. Like, bitch! Like, okay. But this one, it felt more natural. It felt like they were legitimately, like, going at each other, and I liked it. I thought that was very clever. Then we had the finals. We had the finals for the Women's Tag Team Championships, which I legitimately thought that was going to be at the pay-per-view. I didn't know that was Raw. I was like, oh, okay, this is on Raw. Okay. I fully expected Dakota Kai and Io Sky to win. So when they didn't, I was legitimately surprised. It was an odd choice. I think definitely one of the first L's since Triple H has been in charge. It was a very odd choice, but good for them. Like, no hate on the winners. It just, okay, it was like, all right. I thought you were going to put these titles on a team and make them feel legitimate, make them feel great, but y'all literally threw the titles on two girls y'all just threw together instead of this established stable that we have, and then tag team titles could have been featured in a main storyline with your female competitors, with Bayley and... But I digress. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it plays out. I'm trusting Triple H's vision here. What else happened on Raw? Oh yeah. We had a continuation of the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn stuff with the Usos and Roman. Obviously Roman wasn't there, but that was interesting. I thought that was interesting. I definitely think they're planting some seeds there that are gonna pan out long term. That'll be really interesting to see. Yeah, it definitely seems it's unsure. I'm unsure what they're doing with Kevin Owens, because yes, he's returned to his prize fighter gimmick from NXT, but it definitely seems like they're keeping him as kind of like a good guy, not a complete bad guy, which I want to see that. I like that. I think that works. I don't think Kevin Owens needs to be a heel, honestly, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. He had a good match. But we'll see. But let's get into Clash at the Castle. There are 6 matches, and holy crap, that is a breath of fresh air compared to the 14 that's on All Out. 6 matches. If there's more, I didn't find them. Like, I looked up the card. I can only find 6 matches that are on the actual Clash at the Castle card. I'm surprised there wasn't more, but okay. We have Edge and Rey Mysterio taking on Finn Balor and Priest. Judgment Day versus Edge and Rey Mysterio. I'm surprised they didn't put Beth Phoenix in this match with Rhea Ripley to have like a mixed tag match, or have a separate match with Beth Phoenix and Rhea Ripley. So that was weird. I felt like that was just, why bring back Beth last week? And I don't know. That felt weird to me. Unless some bullshit happens with Dominic Mysterio, unless he like turns on his dad finally. I don't see Edge and Rey Mysterio losing this match. So that's my pick. I hate it for Finn Balor and Damian Priest. The Judgment Day is starting to feel a little bit mid-cardy, which I don't like. Because I love Finn. I love Finn Balor. Probably one of my favorite all-time competitors in the WWE. But I don't see them beating Edge and Rey Mysterio storyline wise, unless Dominic is doing the heel stuff, which okay. Then we have Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins. This feud that was kind of just thrown together out of nowhere. It was just two guys. Let's just have them fight. Okay. The build has been okay for it. I mean, I think Raw was really good. The segment they had on Raw. I freaking hope Seth wins here. Seth freaking Rollins, but thankfully I read somewhere that they're dropping the freaking thing from his name, because that was his official name for a while, which a lot of people didn't get. Like, his official name in the WWE was Seth freaking Rollins. That was his name. That was under the Vince McMahon era. We're not in that anymore. So now he's allegedly back to just Seth Rollins, thank God. But I want Seth to win this. I don't care much for Riddle. I'm sorry. He's a decent guy. Can get it done in the ring. Doesn't really do a lot for me personally. Yo, thank you for the biddy. I appreciate that. That is I think that's my first biddy of September. How about that? But yeah, Seth Rollins. I see him winning that. I hope he wins that. Let's see, we got a couple of women's matches on the pay-per-view. We have Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka taking on Bayley's group with Dakota Kai and Io Sky. So again, surprised they didn't put the women's titles on them, but it didn't happen. So what we got here, it's a tough spot because you have your Raw Women's Champion and Bianca Belair and two other strong female competitors taking on a returning Bayley in this new group. So my pick is Bayley. Bayley and company are winning this match, but it's like, man, they're kind of hurting your champion here, you know? So I don't know. I don't think Bianca takes the pin here, but I definitely think Bayley and Dakota Kai and Io Sky are gonna win this match, definitely. Let's see. Then the other women's match we have on the card is Liv Morgan and Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler, similar to Kevin Owens, is kind of reverting back to her NXT gimmick, where she's a bit more of a legitimate fighter, and she's not doing the funny stuff right now. She's trying to legitimately fight and beat people up, which is good. I think that works for Shayna Baszler. That worked for her when she was one of the longest reigning NXT women's champions. I'm curious to see how they do this match, because Liv Morgan was able to survive Ronda Rousey, win. Will they continue that with Shayna Baszler? Will they have Liv Morgan get another surprise win over Shayna Baszler, keep that title reign going? I'm gonna pick that. I want to see Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan, you know, she's worked really hard to get to where she is now, and I want to see her have a good run with the women's championship. So I want to pick her to win this, but I legitimately wouldn't be surprised if they gave it to Shayna. If they wanted to slap the SmackDown women's title on Shayna, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm picking Liv in here. Then we have two big matches. Two big main event caliber matches here, with Gunther taking on Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. I think that this match is going to be very physical. I think they're probably going to use some strong style, kind of British strong style is a thing, but they're going to be using some heavy freaking hits in this match. Similar to Jon Moxley, how I mentioned earlier, this is what I was alluding to, about that final boss aura. Not a lot of wrestlers have that final boss aura, and Gunther's one of those guys. He's got that final boss aura. Has a presence to him, he's got a stature to him, he carries himself like a final boss. He feels like the M. Bison of the WWE. Street Fighter reference there for you. So legitimately, it's hard to find somebody who can match that and to legitimately beat him, where it doesn't look like it's kind of cheap and you're not diminishing Gunther by having him lose to some chump. Sheamus can match that. Sheamus can match that physicality. He can match that aggressiveness. And I love Sheamus and I want him to win, so that's my pick. My pick is Sheamus to win this title, because he's wanted that Intercontinental title for a couple of years now, in his personal life, which I appreciate that. I appreciate when a wrestler actually wants a title. you know? Like, a lot of these guys are just happy to be there. Like, some of these guys are just happy to collect a paycheck and be on a roster. But for Sheamus to have the respect he does for the business and to be like, yeah, I want that championship. I want that on my resume. I need that championship because that's the last one I haven't won. It's the one I haven't gotten. So I love that storyline. I wish they would have leaned into that a little more in the build, but that's fine. Regardless, I want Sheamus to get that big win. So yeah, that's my pick for that. And then the final match here is tough. Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship, both belts on the line here, obviously. This is a hard one because you have Roman Reigns, who is in this historic reign, these championships. He literally feels like he's untouchable right now. He definitely feels like the Thanos of the WWE. He's got all the Infinity Stones. He's untouchable. But the way they're building up Drew McIntyre here, make him look like a legitimate competitor or legitimate contender here, and he is. But they're building it to look like he's a guy. All the vignettes. I don't know if y'all have seen a lot of the vignettes on Twitter that they post, and they've showed some on the show. They're building it up to where he could potentially get. Under Vince McMahon's WWE, I could see Drew getting this win. I could see Drew McIntyre getting the win here. Big match, big pay-per-view in the UK, which they don't normally do, and it would make some headlines. Make a lot of headlines. Show. It would get this show trending, make it very popular, and people would want to go watch it, and I think it would do a lot of good hits on social media. I can see them doing that. I could still see Triple H doing that too. But I'm not confident. I'm not as confident in it. Like, they have this other storyline right now. See, the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn storyline, it makes me think Kevin Owens is going to be the guy to beat Roman. You know, it makes me feel like they're building up Kevin Owens to beat Roman Reigns. So that shakes my confidence a little bit. But for the sake of fun, I'm gonna pick Drew McIntyre. For the sake of fun, I'm probably gonna be wrong with that prediction, and that's fine. But I think from the business side of it, I think it would be really interesting. It'd be really big for headlines and all that stuff. Business side, and historically, I think that'd be pretty cool. Drew McIntyre, yes, he held the WWE Championship during the pandemic and everything, but he didn't really get that chance to shine in front of a live audience. I think this could be that opportunity. I think it would be really big for the crowd. Hey, guy, he wins, the Scottish guy. I think that'd be really good. Plus, the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn thing, that storyline could pivot to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn beating the Usos for the tag team titles. There still could be something there. But for the sake of this currently, I'm going to pick Drew. I could be 100% wrong on that, and that's fine. But yeah, those are my predictions for both All Out and for Clash at the Castle. I think there's a lot of big things brewing in wrestling. I think the machine moves on, the machine moves forward. We're just in a really good place right now. I think keep watching, keep building, and get that excitement, and I hope things go well from there. That's it. That's all I have right now for Mic'd Up Pro Wrestling Podcast for this episode called Loaded. The show's been fun. It's been enjoyable to do this show. I know I'm not blind. Not blind. I know this show doesn't do great for my numbers. Like, whether it come to live viewership average, YouTube numbers, or whatever, but I'm enjoying doing it. Enjoying getting this opportunity to talk about wrestling in front of a camera. Share that. I'm gonna keep plugging away at it for a You can't catch any fish if you don't put your line in the water, right? What we're doing here, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate anybody who's been here, live viewing, anybody who watches the YouTube videos, comments on that, or activity, content. I appreciate you guys. But yeah, that's it. End of this week's episode. Love you guys. Be back on later tonight with God knows what game, but we'll figure it out. I hope everybody has a great evening. If I don't see you, well, that's done.